Today we will discuss a new chapter ecosystem structure and function. This is 12th chapter in your biology CBSE book. Ecosystem was coined by A.G. Tansley in 1955. It is the name of a scientist who coined the term ecosystem. Ecosystem is biotic community and biotope relationship. It means the relationship between organism and its environment. It is a self-regulating and self-sustaining unit. R. Mishra is called father of Indian ecology, and ecology term was coined by German scientist Ernest Haeckel or E. Haeckel. An ecosystem is a functional unit of nature where living organisms interact among themselves and also within the physical surrounding environment. In nature, there are two major types of ecosystem. First, aquatic, that is the related with water, and second is terrestrial, those all without water. Micro ecosystem are very small in size, and macro ecosystem are large in size. These may be two types of ecosystem depending upon the size. Aquatic ecosystem may be freshwater or marine. You can easily know that in common practice all those ecosystems where the water is not adding salt is called freshwater. Freshwater means here never that water is suitable for drinking, so it is fresh. No, that water in which salt are not dissolved commonly is called freshwater. Ecosystem may be natural or man-made. Man-made ecosystem may be artificial. Dam, park, fish, pond, spacecraft, aquarium, human activity, all these can change the boundary of ecosystem. Forest, grassland and desert are some example of the terrestrial ecosystem. Pond, lake, wetland, river and estuary are some example of aquatic ecosystem. Crop field is human-made or artificial ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem have small size or large size depending upon the condition. First of all, we will take component of an ecosystem. In your early classes also you have read that ecosystem has two types of component. Abiotic or non-living component which for inorganic material, water, carbon dioxide, air, organic matter, protein, carbohydrate, fat, soil, water, etc. Climatic condition also taken in the abiotic factor. Biotic factor include all those living organisms which are present in the environment. They are of three types. Producer are those organisms which can make their food. They are generally phototrophs and chemotrophs. But chemotrophs are very less. They are mainly bacteria. So mainly phototrophs are considered producer. They can make their food by photosynthesis. So they convert solar energy into chemical energy. And these are most important. They are the main source of food for all ecosystem. In aquatic ecosystem, there may be various phytoplankton, algae and higher plant which are considered to be producer. In aquatic system, phytoplankton are main phototrophs. In shallow water, aquatic plant or macrophyte. In terrestrial ecosystem, the tree, grass, herb, shrub, they are the producer. Then in the consumer. Consumer are plant eater or they are herbivorous organism. They are phagotrophs or heterotrophic. They are directly depending upon the plant, so we can say they are vegetarian. They are primary consumer. Then is the secondary consumer which depends upon the plant or which depends upon the primary consumer, or they are generally carnivores. And those who eat them, they are tertiary consumer and then quaternary consumer. More than 4 consumers are never generally possible. Primary consumer are herbivores and they eat only plant material. For example, cattle, deer, goat, rabbit, hare, rat, mammals, etc. Grasshopper and terrestrial animal may snail, mollusk, mosquito, larva, tadpole and tortoise in aquatic ecosystem are herbivores. Secondary consumers depend upon the primary consumers for food as hydra, dragonfly, larva, water bug, water beetle, frog, small fish, etc. Tertiary consumer depend upon secondary consumer for food as large fish in water, bird, aquatic and wolf in terrestrial. Quaternary consumer depends upon the tertiary consumer. For example, whale and dolphin or tiger lion. Decomposer are those organisms which breaks down the complex material into simple. They decompose, they decay the material. They are generally bacteria and fungi. They help in recycling of material and they help in mineralizing the process. They secrete various enzymes from their body which digest the matter outside the body. The absorber of food is absorbed and remaining is eaten in the soil. Every ecosystem has a boundary, but ecosystems are interconnected together by flow of energy, by flow of mineral, by water, and with the nearby ecosystem. Sometimes some organism may cross the boundary of another ecosystem. For example, leaves of a riverbank tree may fall in water, or they may also move in the water to a large place. Similarly, the material from a terrestrial ecosystem may fall on the earth, and that may also move to a large far place by speed of wind. By another terrestrial bird may eat fish from water. Soil erosion can wash soil from earth and carry it to the soil. So we cannot say that every ecosystem is isolated. Parasite depends on other organism, and sometimes they may move from one organism to another. Omnivorous eat both plant and animals. Scavenger are detrivorous which feed upon the dead and decayed, for example, earthworm. Ecosystem structure and function. Ecosystem has important functions which are taken as recycle of material, that is decomposition, that is energy flow, and that is another various change in the ecosystem. So in every ecosystem the producer form first trophic level, herbivore second trophic level, carnivore third trophic level, and top carnivore fourth trophic level. Standing crop is the number of biomass of organism present in ecosystem at a given time per period. It is measured in dry weight, and dry weight may be in kilogram. So dry weight is measured in biomass due to the change in moisture content. Nutrients are stored in biomass in the organism. Standing state, amount of nutrient in the environment at a particular time is called standing state. Stratification is the sometimes various plant form different layers, and as in forest the tree form top layer, then the shrub, then herb, and the ground layer are grass or moss and lichen. So there are various layers. In every ecosystem there are many functions. For example, there may be absorption of light, or there may be fixation of energy. So there are four main things. First is productivity, second decomposition, third energy flow, fourth nutrient cycling. First is productivity. Productivity is amount of material or biomass produced in any ecosystem. It is measured in gram per meter square per year, or kilocalorie per meter square per year. Thus, by measuring productivity, we can easily compare all ecosystems. It is of two types, primary and secondary. Primary productivity is the productivity or the amount of energy at which sunlight is fixed. The producer captures sunlight and they change into food material. It depends upon availability of light, photosynthetic capability of plant, and moisture content and other favorable conditions. Desert have very less productivity, while the terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem has more productivity. In deep sea, nutrient become limited, so there is very less productivity. It is known as aphotic zone because light cannot reach there. Nitrogen is considered to be the main limiting nutrient in the marine productivity. Primary productivity of two types, gross and net. Gross primary productivity, the rate at which organic compounds are formed, is called gross primary productivity. Net primary productivity, the building of biomass or storage of energy by green plant in a unit time. Net primary productivity is gross activity minus respiratory loss. It is the respiratory loss, respirate. Secondary productivity, the amount of biomass stored at the consumer level. इसको कहते हैं secondary productivity. It is only the utilization of biomass of plant for the production of consumer. Community productivity is the total amount of the material which is deposited at the community level. Eutrophication is natural decomposition which occurs itself. 10% of the biomass is transferred at each level. Lindman gave 10% law in 1942, by which we can know that at each level only 10% energy is exchanged to next level. Earth has three zones: tropical zone, which is having 23.5 degree north to 23.5 degree south of equator. Second is temperate zone, which is beyond the tropical, and third is polar zone, which is very far or near the pole. It is very cold zone, polar zone is very cold. Then is the decomposition. The breaking down of complex material into simple by decomposer is known as decomposition. Decomposer are mainly bacteria and fungi. Decomposer break down complex material into simple. They help in the recycling of the material. When any organism dies, its waste are decomposed by the organism and they are added in the soil. Detritivores can eat the detritus or the small particle of the living being. This is known as fragmentation. They break down into simple fragment. By the process of leaching, some decomposed material goes in the water in downside the earth, and that is got precipitated as an available salt. Bacteria and fungi are responsible for the breaking down of the complex material, and this process of breaking down is known as catabolism. Here we can easily know that decomposition process has various steps. First is fragmentation, second leaching, catabolism, humidification and mineralization. The uppermost layer of earth crust is the main site of decomposition. In the decomposition, the first is the fragmentation of detritus. The waste they are fall in the soil, they are broken down into the smaller part is known as fragmentation. Then is the leaching. When water percolates through the soil, it carries water soluble salt with it in under the soil and they get deposited there. It is known as leaching. Then is the catabolism. The enzyme released for decomposer bacteria, fungi decompose complex molecule into simple. It is known as catabolism. Humidification or mineralization is the accumulation of humus in a dark color amorphous substance called detritus. Humus is more resistant to bacterial action and it decomposes very slowly. Humidification and mineralization occur during decomposition in the humidification, which are very slow process. Humidification lead to accumulation of dark material amorphous substance in the soil, and it go decomposition at a small rate. Being colloidal in nature, it is a reservoir of nutrients. Humus is degraded by some microbes, but they decompose it in very long period. Mineralization, the release of mineral in the soil as carbon dioxide, water, nutrient, ammonium, calcium, magnesium, potassium are released by the microorganism. Nutrient immobilization. Sometimes some nutrient which decompose, they reach at a certain place that they never come in the atmosphere and they are not available for organism. This is known as nutrient immobilization. These nutrients may remain separate from the normal environment. On the depth of the organism, the minerals are available. The immobilization helps organism in separating the mineral from their environment. This is the food web and food chain. A food web has many food chains interconnected. Decomposition needs oxygen, and the rate of decomposition is controlled by chemical composition of deteriorated climatic factor. Some waste material are easily decomposed, some are very hardly decomposable. Factor affecting decomposition. Climatic factors are main factor which can affect decomposition. You know, at high temperature decomposition is fast, at low temperature decomposition is very slow, because at low temperature enzyme become inactive and the organism that are decomposed, they are unable to break down the complex material. In high latitude the decomposition is very slow because their temperature is very small. Near the equator the decomposition is very fast. In desert also decomposition rate is very slow despite of high temperature because there is moisture is less. So moisture is also responsible for decomposition. Chemical quality of the material also determine the decomposition rate. So these are some important factors that in the energy flow. We know that sun is the biggest source of energy, but in the nature, except of deep hydrothermal ecosystem, every place is depending upon the sun for the energy. And the sun gives energy in the form of PAR, photosynthetically active radiation, because plant need energy in the process of photosynthesis. They make their food with the help of light, but plant capture only 2 to 10% of the PAR, and PAR form approximately 50% of the total solar energy. So from the sun only 50% energy which is useful for plant is obtained, and out of that only 2 to 10% energy is consumed by the plant. So generally it comes only 1 to 4%, which is very small, but we can consider only 1 to 2% in the different organisms. It is the energy in every ecosystem that is available from the sun, and it is always unidirectional, because from the sun energy is coming on the earth, but from earth energy is not transferring to the sun. So we can find it unidirectional flow of energy. This energy is never available to the sun again. So from the sun it will be taken by green plant. From green plant it will be herbivorous. From herbivorous it will be carnivorous, then top carnivorous, but never to the sun. It is given a chain of the energy transfer. Sun is giving energy in the form of heat that is losing in the environment, but plants are taking this heat for photosynthesis, this energy. From plant it is taken by herbivores. From herbivores it is going to carnivores, then top carnivores, and at each level some energy is used for their maintenance, for their growth, for their body keeping, and thus only very little energy transfer to next level. It is actually according to 10% law. The energy captured is equal to estimate productivity to caloric value of biomass. Caloric value of biomass is the amount of energy released by 1 gram of substance, complete combustion in the excess of oxygen. In favorable condition, only 1 to 5% of the instant energy, or 2 to 10% of the where is actually available by the plant. This energy is utilized in the respiration and in the other activity of the plant. Then is the energy flow model. In all, energy flow is unidirectional. There is no backward flow of the energy. 10% law was given by Lindemann, as I told it. And then is the respiration or productivity. The respiration of producer store about 20%, herbivorous 30%, and assimilated energy consumed respiration increase 60% in carnivores. Food chain, when one organism eat other and trophic level are connected to each other, it is known as food chain. In food chain, the first organism is first organism photosynthetic, that is generally autotroph, and then herbivorous, then carnivorous. The food chain are basically divided two categories: grazing food chain, deciduous food chain. In grazing food chain, the first organism eat grass or plants, as for example grass, grasshopper, frog, snake. Grass, rabbit, cat, wolf, tiger. Crop, rat, owl. Crop, aphid, ladybird, bird beetle, and birds. Deciduous food chain starts from the dead and decay material as the soil. For example, earthworm. Earthworm consume only soil or the dead decay material, and they are eaten by next organism, and the chain starts at the food chain. Many food chain are interconnected. This is known as food web. Ecological pyramid is the graphic representation of a specific parameter of food chain in a trophic level. If we denote these in the sequence of their number or their mass or their energy, we got a pyramid-like shape, and this is a one pyramid given in the energy pyramid. In energy pyramid, the herbivorous will need maximum energy. Then, first of all, the plant will get maximum energy from the sun. From plant, 10% will go to the herbivorous, from herbivorous 10% to carnivorous, and then from 10% to carnivorous. If we see plant have got 10,000 joule, then the 1,000 will be primary consumer, secondary consumer 100 joule, and the tertiary consumer 10 joule. Therefore, number decreases at every level. Amount of energy according to 10% law. This is the pyramid of energy. But like pyramid of energy, there are other pyramid also. At every level, their energy is decreasing. These are the pyramid of number. If we arrange these on the number wise, then we get also same shape, and that is pyramid of number. Pyramid of number also have the same shape. It is wider at the bottom and the narrower at the top. Similarly, pyramid of biomass, they are also denoted, respected in the same way. First of all, the phototroph, then the herbivore, then carnivore or top carnivorous, they also get the same shape. But sometimes the number may be different. For example, a sparrow is a primary consumer when it eats seed, fruit, pea, etc. It is secondary consumer when it insects. So some organisms may occupy more than one position in the ecosystem. This is the different type of organism or the in a food web. They are exception to the generalization. If we count the number of insects feeding on the big tree pyramid, we get very large. The plant is single, but the organisms are very large. So the phototrophs are less, and other organisms are more in number. In such case, the inverted pyramid is obtained. Pyramid of biomass in sea is also generally inverted because the biomass of fishes exceeds that mass of phytoplankton. Pyramid of energy is always upright, but it can never be inverted because energy decreases always, energy can never be increased. So it is always an inverted pyramid. However, there are some limitations of ecological pyramid. It does not take account same species which are going into action. Sometimes it can be very harmful because the number increases such a level that we cannot read what you have write. So it is very important to write neat and clean. Then is the ecological efficiencies. Ecological efficiency is when calculated, that is the amount of energy calculated in 100. It is photosynthetic efficiency, the ability of utilize solar energy into chemical energy, that is the gross production into 100 upon incident energy. Net production efficiency, similarly the amount of net production into 100 by gross primary. Assimilation efficiency, the efficiency by which any organism use the available energy. Ecological efficiency, trophic level efficiency, the ratio of biomass production at every trophic level. Internal nutrient cycling. Nutrient are the substance or element needed for proper development and normal growth. These nutrients transported from one level to another, and it is the main transport in the ecosystem. Now the question answer, fill in the blanks. Plants are called autotroph because they make their food. In an ecosystem dominated by trees, the pyramid of number is inverted. In ecosystem, the limiting factor is light. Common native earth is earthworm. Major river carbon on earth is ocean. Which one of the following has the largest population in a food chain? Producer have the largest, and primary consumer, secondary consumer, decomposer. Actually, decomposer are microorganism and they decompose every material. They are large number in a ecosystem. Then the second trophic level lake में कौन सा होगा? In lake the zooplankton will be second. First trophic level phytoplankton, second will be zooplankton. Secondary producer are none because producer are only primary. Then which is percentage photosynthetic activation is about 50% of total. Then is the grazing food chain. The food chain which starts from the herbivora, that is grazing food chain. And the deadest food chain which starts from the deadest feeder, that is earthworm-like organism, that is deadest food chain. The grazing food chain becomes the producer is become the detrivorous. The food chain is large and the deadest food chain is very small. Here production and decomposition difference. The production, the amount produced, and decomposition, the breakdown complex into simple. It depends upon the photosynthetic capacity, depends upon the decomposer. Sunlight is required for the process of photosynthesis. In decomposer, light is not needed. Upright pyramid is normal pyramid in which the number decreases from bottom to top. Inverted has the opposite of the upward. Here the number increases from bottom to top. And these pyramids are generally in the ocean, or these pyramids are generally in the terrestrial. Food chain, when one organism eats other and exchange is made food chain, and many food chains are interconnected, that is known as food web. Litter and detritus. Litter contain all kind of waste. Detritus is the composed of mainly dead plant and animal. Litter contain biodegradable, non-biodegradable. Detritus contain only biodegradable. Primary productivity, the productivity at the autotrophic level, and secondary productivity, the productivity at the consumer level. Describe the component of ecosystem. Are two components, biotic and abiotic, which we have taken in this chapter also. Biotic are living beings, abiotic are non-living. Define ecological pyramid. Ecological pyramid is the systematic representation of the organism of an ecosystem, and it may be represented like a pyramid shape. So such type as a diagram. Then The pyramid of number, pyramid of energy, pyramid of biomass we have taken in the chapter also. These are the different type of pyramid in an ecosystem. Then is the shape of the pyramid. What is the primary productive we have taken? The productive at the herbivorous level, at the producer level is known as primary productivity. It is taken as amount of energy per unit area over a period of time. Primary productive ecosystem depends upon the various environmental factors. Decomposition, we have taken the breaking down of complex metal decomposition. It has 4 steps, and those we have discussed in the chapter also: fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humidification, and mineralization. Then is the account of energy flow. In the energy flow, the ecosystem energy comes from the sun, and from the sun this energy comes in the form of photosynthetically active radiation which plant take. From here the energy goes to the primary consumer or herbivorous, then secondary consumer, then tertiary consumer, and at every level only 10% of the previous energy is converted. So energy flow is unidirectional. This energy never comes back in the atmosphere, but at every layer there is a respiratory loss or for the maintenance or the making their normal environment or for growth, for their various body process. A lot of energy is consumed, that energy is used, and this is the mainly flow of energy. So we can say flow of energy is unidirectional and flow of mineral is bidirectional. This was about the ecosystem. It is a very small chapter and I have done this explain. You read it multiple times